to a brand new episode of Geeks and Flix Live. I'm your host, Alex Figueroa, and my co-host is...
Nate from Nate Flix Reviews.
So tonight we have another special live stream. We're going to be ranking the Karate Kids live 1 through 5. We're going to be going from 1984 to the 90s and all the way up to 2021, I believe. 2021, 2022?
2010.
2010. Sorry, 2010. We're not covering Cobra Kai. So with that, for those of you out there and you're asking, you doing Cobra Kai? We're not doing Cobra Kai. We do have special guests. We have Evan. We're going to bring him in a few seconds here. Again, I would like to say what's up to everyone that's with us live. We're here live from Mr. Miyagi's backyard, if you can see our background.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're in his backyard.
Yeah.
So we're live there. Hey, Stephanie, she's on vacation.
Hey.
Mexico. How you doing, Stephanie? We got Ben Buster. We got Nate. We got Jay Manley. And everyone that you're catching on the replay or you're going to be joining us on along and having fun with us. Again, you guys are going to be ranking with us live. We're going to do, towards the end, we're going to give all our rankings where we think is the best ones and the worst ones in the series. But yes, and then today we're going to reveal our next franchise ranking for the month of October. So we're going to be coming back in October because every 2 weeks when we go live, we're going to be coming back in October and we're going to be doing 2 huge franchises for the month of October, which I can't wait to talk about.
Yeah, we better get to watching. We gotta start watching now.
Yeah,
we want to
now.
finish them all in time.
After we're done, we're gonna just start watching October's movies. But with that said, let's have some fun. Let's bring in Evan. We have no new news. I don't think we have any new news. We have 2 more before we hit our milestone for the channel. We're at 1,498 subs. So, yeah.
Okay. We're 2 away from 1,500. So if you guys know anybody, Stephanie, you're on vacation. Tell whoever family that hasn't signed up yet, sign them up. We're close to 1,500, which is great for us. Here's the news. I wasn't on the last ranking. I know Alex always says it, but we have a TikTok now. So if you do like TikTok or if you like those little short videos, if you got the attention span of an ant, we have a TikTok. Geeks, the letter N. Flix is doing really good, Alex. We're getting some traction. Getting a lot of comments, getting a lot of likes.
Nice.
People like our stuff over there. So just check it out. It's fun. It's just another way for you to get some little bite-sized videos from Alex and I. And other than that, no new news.
All right. Well, I have no new news over here. Let's just get right into it. And you were on KB Loves Movies conversation, right? You did one of those
if you want to
things?
watch the replay. Yeah, he invited me on for the conversation. That's a show he does where he pretty much just talks with YouTubers and actors, and he's had like Serial at Midnight on there. He's talked to some people, and that was a good time. Nice guy. We went over just talking movies. He's a Yankee fan, so that was tough for me. I had to say, well, I'm not like that, but I like him. Good guy. So if you want to catch the replay, go over KB Loves Movies. You can watch the replay of the conversation over there.
All right, so there you have it. Now let's bring in Evan.
Yes,
there he is. There he is.
Evan's son, as his name
Evan's
says
son.
on our end.
How you doing, Evan?
Right. Doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Are you excited for tonight's show?
Very excited. I love Karate Kid, so very excited.
Nice. All right, so you know what? Let's start off with some questions, and then we'll go right into some box office numbers. With that said, what is your experience with Karate Kid, whether it's the first one only, or you've seen 2 and 3, or have you seen 1, 2, 3, 4, or have you seen all of them? Evan, I'll let you go first. What is your experience when you first watched it, or the entire franchise? What did you think of it?
So, Karate Kid 1 through the next Karate Kid I grew up with. So I watched those many times as a kid. I owned all 4 on VHS. Then I bought them on DVD, and that's where I stopped. Didn't ever rebuy them, but I used to, as a kid, I'm talking, rewatch them all the time. All 4 were in rotation. The next the new Karate Kid one with Jackie Chan was my first time watch here.
Okay.
So.
Can't wait to hear your thoughts on that one.
Okay.
All right, Nate. What do you think of any other Karate Kids? What was your experience?
Yep. So this is funny. I've never seen any of the original 3. The Karate Kid is one of those franchises that, like, I know. I mean, it's well documented. We've been doing this show a long time. Not the 80s movie guy. That's not me. I've seen a lot of the big ones. I have not seen all of the big ones, but I did not grow up on 80s movies. I grew up on 90s movies, and I'll go back and watch them now as an adult. So I've never seen any of the original although I know they exist. I know wax on, wax off. You know, the stuff that's in the pop culture lexicon, even if you haven't seen it. Turns out, I texted Alex today because I thought I've never seen the next Karate Kid. I saw this at the theater when I was a kid. When I was watching it, I was like, I have seen this movie. My grandma took me and my sister to watch it. So I was like, well, this is the second time watch. Although I didn't remember what was going to happen, I remembered certain scenes where I was like, oh, I've seen this. And then I saw the Karate Kid remake at the theater in 2010. So that was the only, I thought it was the only one I had seen, but it turns out I had seen the other one before that. But I've never seen the original trilogy.
Okay. Well, this is the first time you watching part 2, 3, next Karate Kid, and the remake. And the first one, I hated it as a kid. Like I hated the movie. Honestly, when I tell you I hated the damn thing. I remember it was on TV. We watched the whole thing. And I remember when it ended, I was like, this is a piece of shit. And my dad is laughing. He's like, oh, because the funny thing is with Spanish people, they'll just go straight up and be like, oh, this fight is garbage. Like, you know, like, because they watch boxing. So to them, boxing is real fighting. So he's like, oh, this stuff is, my dad hated it too. He was just like, this is so corny. He was like, you can hit 3 shots on this guy's face by the time he does that kick waiting there. The crane kick when he just stands there. He was like, any real martial artist would have took him out in 2 seconds. But I was like, Dad, they're like teenagers.
Yeah, this is not an action movie.
Well, we'll talk about this because
it's not an action movie. It's a family movie.
Yeah, it's a very family movie. So I was laughing. So I said, holy crap. So I was like, oh man. But anyway, I was never a fan of it. I don't know. I just couldn't engage with Danny, with Ralph Macchio. It's just not my bag when it comes to this movie. So when the TV show came out and everyone was like, oh, goo goo gaga, like all these fake Karate Kid fans come out of the woodworks going, oh my God. I was just like, I ain't watching that shit.
He's from Jersey, Danny.
And he is. Oh, I can't wait to talk about it. But anyway, that is our experience with it. So let's bring up some box office numbers because this is very, very telling. So let me just bring up here some graphical work. So here we go. Boop. So we're gonna bring up the first graphic here, okay? So the first one is the first movie from 1984. The movie grossed $91 million worldwide on an $8 million budget. So if you kind of do inflation, we'll be at $250 million around there now. I think if you do the inflation, but I'm not doing that because that's a lot of math. So it's $91 million, budget on 8 with a worldwide. Domestic at 91 with an international $42,000. So Nate, what do you think of these numbers?
Yeah, it's a big hit. I mean, 91. Listen, before 2005, if your movie made 100 million, it was like a blockbuster. 100. This made 91 in 84, so that would be considered a big hit. Even if we go inflation, right? Okay, budget 8. That's probably like 40 or some 50. The 91 is like 400 million or something crazy, honestly. So yeah, this is a big success.
Yeah, this is a very big success movie. Evan, what do you think? Because I know you're kind of a big numbers guy.
Well, yeah. So what's very interesting that I remember as a kid was everyone owned this VHS. Everyone, you went to people's house, there was like a few VHSs that were on everyone's, mostly Disney, but this was that one also on everyone's thing. So, and then you rented it. I mean, this movie got so much money just thrown at it for possible things. I mean, and I think a lot of people saw it multiple times in the theater. I'm not shocked by these numbers for the 80s, you know?
All right. You're not shocked.
I mean, it made 10 times, it's over 10 times its budget, 11 times its budget. So that's pretty good.
Well, you're not shocked. You're about to get shocker for part 2. Ooh. All right. So part 1 came out at $91 million, right? At an $8 million budget. Now Ralph Macchio and Mr. Miyagi became big actors at this time, right? So they said, we're going to greenlight a sequel. We're going to give you $12.5 million for the sequel. And they did. And then, a few summers later. And then, a few summers later, you got Karate Kid 2. coming in at a worldwide of $115 million at a budget of $12.5 million. Nate, what do you think of this numbers?
Impressive. It's crazy that there's no international number there.
No.
Maybe it did come out overseas and maybe they didn't track it back then as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is kind of what you'd expect from a sequel when it's properly done. Like if the movie 1 is good or liked, the second movie little bit bigger budget, a little bit bigger box office. So yeah, not surprising. Follows when you get nervous is when it's increased budget, lower box office.
Exactly.
This is not the case here. Made more, cost a little more.
All right. Evan, what you got?
I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people love the first one. They're going to go see the second one. People who didn't go see the first one in the theater, now it's by word of mouth. Everyone's going to see the second one. You could definitely tell this is right when VHS was starting to grow because like they do the recap of what happened in the first movie, right? So they're like going, hey, you have a possibility of not knowing and never seeing the first one in it. But I'm not surprised. I bet you, though, I'm going to take a guess based off of this one. It's the third one's not going to do as well.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah, they did what I like to call the Resident Evil, where they show you all previously on Karate Kid.
Yes.
The whole backstory.
Yeah.
Freaking Resident Evil did that 6 times, whatever.
Oh, they did. All right. So here we go. We're not surprised with the sequel success. I mean, the big success of part 2. We were like, oh, wow. People wanted more karate. So I said, all right. So the studio was like, how can we get more Karate Kid to everyone? And they said, we're going to greenlight another one. And let's bring back Ralph Macchio and Mr. McGee, right? So I said, all right.
Mr. McGee.
Mr. McGee.
Mr. McGee.
Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, Mr. Miyagi. I call him Mr. McGee. He's okay
Mr.
with
McGee.
it. Yeah. So Mr.
Like
Miyagi.
Mr. McGee.
And they said, wow, we got a successful hit with 12.5 million. So they went, we're going to give them an additional 12.5 million. We're going to give them 12.5 million like they did with the sequel. Will it be a hit? Well, the following summer, they got yourself Karate Kid 3. And guess what? 3 summers later, and you got yourself a floppity doodah. Yeah. Well, not really. 38 million worldwide on a budget of 12.5 million. All right, Nate, what you got?
It didn't lose money, but this is nowhere. This is not what. See, this is what you don't want, where you give it the same budget and then it made $80 million less. That's not. So while it's not technically a loss, it is a loss in the sense of you had these 2 big hits. And this one made significantly less. And that's why there's a gap probably between this one and the fourth one, because this is not great. It's not going to get anyone fired probably, but it's not great.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, based on, I don't remember everyone like loving number 2 as a kid. Not many people talked about number 2. I think I was the only one that actually owned number 2 on VHS. Everyone owned 1, no one owned 2. I'm not surprised no one went and saw 3. And 2, the kids that all loved probably 1 and 2 are starting to become
men.
Well, not men, but too cool to go see kid family movies, which Karate Kid is definitely that realm. It's not like I want to see a more mature movie, if you know what I mean.
I see what you mean. Because guess what? They went, you know what? Daniel's son is old enough. They were like, we can afford Ralph Macchio right now. So Mr. Miyagi comes cheap. So they say, we're going to give you $12 million budget for this next movie. And it's going to come out 94, right? Around the time of Ninja Turtles, right? The craze of the Turtles, right? Because 1990, speaking of the
third, like around the time of the third Turtles.
The third one, right? So you got 94 coming around where kids' family films are starting to boom because of Home Alone, right? And all that stuff. And they went, wow, this is a perfect time to bring in another Karate Kid. A new Karate Kid, but this time it's a woman. They saw the future of women taking the lead. And I said, all right, what happens when you get $12 million, Hilary Swank, and Mr. Miyagi in one movie? You get yourself a floppity doo-dah. This movie came worldwide at $15 million $15.8 million on a budget of $12 million. Evan, I'm going to let you go first here. What do you think it was wrong with this?
I think no one cared, and the fact that you don't have Danielson, back, and so you're not getting. I was the only person that I know, and I now know there's another one, Nate, that saw it in the theater. Everyone else didn't go. I'm a completist at this time, at this age. I'm in late middle school. I want to say 19, like I'm 10, 11 at this time. So right at middle school. And so I'm seeing it all because I've seen all of them, but I'm the only one. And I'm the only one that cared, and no one cares about a girl in a karate movie is pretty much what my friends were saying at the time.
Ooh, that's sexist. Very sexist.
No, but that's how it was. 94.
That's how it was.
You didn't play no games. I don't care about no girl. I ain't girl.
All right, Nate, what do you think of these numbers?
Yeah, this is bad. Someone got fired over this. See, now you got $12 million budget. You make 15. You've lost money at this point. I don't remember marketing. I was a kid when this came out, but like Evan said, I saw it. I'm pretty sure my grandma took us to take my sister because it was a girl karate movie, and my sister's 2 years older than me, so she was probably like, "Hey, well, I'll take you both. Let's go see Karate Kid." She don't care. I don't even know if my grandma saw the other ones, but look at this poster. It's got a girl doing a big karate kick. It's got two people giving honor to each other.
Giving honor to each other.
Honor. Yeah. This is a flop.
This is a flop. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, guess what? They waited a few years later. I mean, decades later. They went, we're going to bring back Karate Kid. This time, we're going to get Mr. Miyagi played by Jackie Chan. Then, the Daniel-san is going to be played by Will Smith's son, while Will Smith is in the background causing havoc. Because you see the making of it? He's in the background being annoying. Anyway, they went, can this be a hit?
He produced it.
Yeah. Well, he's annoying. And now, because of his annoyingness, the people loved it. And they grossed $359 million on a $40 million budget. Whew. I'm going to tell you, the saving grace for this movie was Mr. Miyagi and the tournament.
In this one, right?
Mr. Hong. Yeah, it's not Mr. Miyagi. They didn't want to kill the legacy of Mr. Miyagi. So, with that said, Evan, what do you think? Not talking about the movie itself, because we're going to do that in a few seconds. What do you think of these numbers? Was it Jackie Chan's appeal that brought this number to where it is now?
I think you also have, because Jaden Smith was also making a name for himself, right? He was in The Pursuit of Happiness with his dad. And let's say Will Smith, while you might think he's annoying, was at the top of his game when this movie came out. Like his name, power, and Jackie Chan definitely was still loved in America. So it's a very easy fit to get families to go. I could see a dad who loved the Karate Kid saying, "Here's mine with my kids, let's go," and all that stuff. So it was released at a perfect time to get everything right, I think, and you got the numbers to prove that.
Well, I'm not saying Will Smith is annoying. I mean, in the background, he looked annoying. When you watch the making of it, it looked like he was just in the way of everything. Like, shut up and let them do their stuff. But anyway.
He was a very hands-on producer.
Yes, hands-on, yeah. Like when Jackie Chan is training him, and he's like, "Oh, you better not hurt my son," and they'll laugh. You're like, "Ha ha ha ha!" You know how he laughs like a big dumbass. Anyway,
don't do it.
You don't do it.
Yeah, well, him and Jada produced it as well. So
there you go.
I agree with Evan on one major point there. All the people who grew up watching the original one, if they had kids, this would be like, maybe they have a kid who either never watched the original, or maybe like we were talking off air. Sometimes they don't like older movies. Like kids are like, "This is old. I don't like this." Yeah. Well, here's another updated version. I could definitely see parents taking kids. I think the international numbers absolutely point to the fact that Jackie Chan is in this movie. He is an international
phenomenon.
Honestly. Yeah, and in 2010, like 2024, probably less because he's older. But in 2010, he's still like a big name. So that, and also they had like Justin Bieber. I remember when this came out, okay, because on the end credit song you get a Justin Bieber song. with
the
Jaden
Bieber.
Smith rapping. And I remember at the movie theater them playing ads before movies showing Justin Bieber singing the song. And you got a bunch of kids who are gonna be like, Justin Bieber, and I kid you not, it probably also helped the ticket sales. So you get Bieber, you got Jackie Chan, you got Jaden Smith, that little annoying kid from The Day the Earth Stood Still remake. And there you go, a big hit. And a 40 million budget. I mean, that's a big win.
That is a big win. So with that said, I'm gonna put up the entire franchise number so you can see what ranks in terms of money wise. So the fourth one was the next Karate Kid, of course, 15 million. Karate Kid Part 3 was at 38 million, then Karate Kid 1 at 91, and then Part 2 was the highest grossing in terms of the Danielson era at 115 million, while the remake just blew all of them out of the water. So with that said, we gave you guys I'm going to go to the chat and see what you guys think of these numbers. Don't give me about movies yet, because we're about to go through them quick, give our thoughts on each of the films, and then get to the rankings. So, Tony Movie Chappie said, it's hilarious despite it making a lot of money. It never got a sequel. He's talking about the remake.
Also, really quick, I want to shout out Harrison's here. Harrison.
Hey, what's
Tony,
up, Harrison?
Basement Blues. Tony's
here.
Hey,
Tony, how you doing?
Tony Roberts here.
Roberto.
What's up, Robert and Harrison. They've all showed up since we've started. So I want
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
So, what do you think of Tony's comment?
Okay. Tony says it's hilarious that despite making a lot of, I could have sworn that they said they were working on a sequel for like a long time.
Well, let me see.
But
I think After Earth was that in between, and and Jaden Smith started to do his music career, or was he doing it because Willow had a music career? But did Jaden try to release an album?
I don't know if he did. He did he was on that Bieber song. I don't think he was into music so much as he started. He did act, and after I know he started doing a lot of other stuff. He was like in fashion and all kind of stuff like that. And
all right, so here we go. For those of you out there, if you're wondering why there's a sequel, okay? In September 2022, the film was confirmed to be in development with the casting of Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio announced in November of 2023. The filming began in April of 2024 and wrapped in June. The film is scheduled to be released in May 30th of 2025. So you're gonna get Ralph Macchio back with Jackie Chan.
You're getting Jackie Chan because it's a spinoff of the Cobra Kai, to my knowledge. So they're taking the Cobra Kai TV show and now merging all the movies and the worlds together.
So Mr. Miyagi's dead in my case, right?
Yes.
He's playing Han.
So he's playing.
Han.
He's still playing Han. Yes.
Okay. So
they're just now. Yeah, because the Karate Kid 2010 was technically not canon with the Ralph Macchio movies.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so now with this new movie coming out, they are going to bring Jackie Chan's character into the Cobra Kai Danielson world. Does that make sense?
If we're being honest, yeah, it makes sense. It's not a dumb idea in the sense of Cobra Kai is a super popular show. So if there is a new audience or an old audience, I guess. I think it's weird. I do think it makes sense, but it's weird. Like, I understand what they're doing. I don't know if I'm not into it because I know. I mean, now that I've seen all these, I'll probably end up.
So it's a new Karate Kid. So Ralph Macchio is going to be in it, but they're doing another Karate Kid. So it's a sequel with another Karate Kid. Because I'm reading here on Esquire, it says that they did a video with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan we're casting a new Karate Kid, and they're doing a casting call for kids. Yeah. So
I know what's gonna happen. Mr. Han is gonna teach Daniel more moves, and then Daniel's gonna pass those moves to the next Karate Kid.
Yeah. He's gonna finally learn how to put on a shirt.
Or it's gonna be Danielson's kid that he's gonna take to Beijing to meet Mr. Han, who taught Jaden Smith.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, "Hey, I heard about this tournament 15 years ago where this kid got his leg injured just like mine."
What a coincidence! Their model also was no mute.
The ropes. Okay, let's go to the chat again real quick. Tony says, I enjoyed the first three for what they were, which was mostly nostalgia. Jay said, I could tell you what was wrong with the next Karate Kid. No one asked for it. Should have stopped at 2. Tony says the Karate Kid remake is not good. Harrison says, I wonder if people's curiosity of a reboot is why it did so well. That's a possibility for that
Could be.
specific number. Tony says, I still have not seen the new the Karate Kid with Will Smith or Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. Jay says, I happen to like the remake. Tony says Will Smith produced it. Then he says
Sorry.
After Earth pretty much killed his career. And then Jay says wax on, wax off. We'll end it with that.
Oh, jeez. All right. So look, with that said, let's have fun and let's take it back and let's break down these films. All right. So let's start it off from 1984. Let's start it off with the first one ever, 1984 Karate Kid, starring Ralph Macchio and Mr. Miyagi. So I'll let Nate go first because he's never seen it before. So Nate, what did you think watching the Karate Kid for the first time?
First time watches.
First
I love first time watches. Okay.
Be honest.
You know what? I'm going to be 100% honest. I liked this movie. I liked it. I liked the first one. I thought it was good. I had never seen it. I totally get the appeal of people who liked it or would have liked it when this came out, right? Like I have like older cousins who would have been like more in the age range for this. I'm pretty sure they all liked this movie. I thought Ralph Macchio, you know what I liked about it? I liked like him and his mom. I like his mom. Like I liked their relationship in that movie. Well, we will get to the other ones later, but I liked that. I liked Elizabeth Shue as the love interest. You know, the funny thing is Ralph Macchio was 23 when they made this movie. He did look and sound like a teenager, and Elizabeth Shue was 21, and she looked a little older, but close enough. But Macchio looked like a kid. So it worked. I like the storyline. He moves to a new town. He gets bullied. And then it turns out the old maintenance guy sticks up for him, teaches him karate, and then he fights them in a tournament. This is very simple. There's nothing special as far as the story goes, but as far as a family film, an 80s family film, I liked it. And it has a good soundtrack. And I had a good time with it. Surprisingly, I didn't think I was going to like it, to be honest. But I liked it. I thought it was good.
All right, Evan, what you got?
So I grew up with it. I've loved it, but it's been a while since I've seen it. And I was going to show, because I found out my wife hadn't seen it and then my son hadn't seen it. I said, let's watch the first one. And my son's seen all the John Wicks already. So I've seen them all. And I'm like, oh, is he going to find this entertaining at all after you've seen John Wicks? And then you're going to see a stunt double fight as for an old man. And, you see all those flaws. And I definitely had the more enjoyable time because I was laughing. I remember my childhood. I laughed so much. My wife was laughing at me for how much I was laughing and enjoying the movie. My son and wife both walked away saying, it was a good movie. They had a good time. I said, do you want to watch the other ones with me? No, they were done. So I just made them watch the beginning of number 2 because that funny opening scene in number 2, and then they were and the fighting in the parking lot. So that's where we ended for them, and then I finished the rest. But I liked it, and then it put together because I always seen like kid actors and go, I just remember growing up and all our kid actors were so good. Then I went and realized we never had kid actors. They were all adults just pretending to be kids. Because I'm watching Elizabeth Shue because I'm like, she's really good. And I look, oh, she's 21. Okay, and like everyone's older and they're not actually kid actors. And I think that was a point and a benefit for us in the 80s that we didn't have to deal with kids learning how to act. So I thought it was really good. I'm glad they do that. But my favorite is that guy on Cobra Kai who just yells in the background, yeah! You know what I'm talking about?
Put him in a body bag.
Yeah.
You're dead meat, man. Yeah.
But the one-liners of Mr. Miyagi throughout this movie, I mean, talk about, those were our one-liners as a kid. You don't know how many times. And like even like anyone who got hurt on the playground or whatever, we all went. Like we did all. So it was so much fun for me watching it. But there's some flaws definitely in the storyline. Like really, Daniel's son asked for half his ass whoopings. Let's just say it. He, like when he's getting chased by, like no one was bugging him in the shower. He starts it in the bathroom and then he goes running. Oh, I can't believe they're picking on me. I'm like, dude, you kind of asked for that. You didn't need to start that. They didn't care. So, but that's definitely an 80s trope.
Yeah.
They started it though. He was just enjoying his time on the beach, and these guys wanted to gang up on him. So I would have done the same thing. I'm gonna get a little revenge on you where I can. You can get this hose in your bath stall when you're trying to smoke a joint. Oh, by the way, I gotta say, Alex, before you go, PG movie, a lot of cursing, love it. That's the one thing I do like about the 80s movies. These things were for kids and they were PG.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of cursing. This kid's like trying to smoke weed in the bathroom. I'm like, man, but you know what? What I like is like I did not go to high school in the 80s. But when I watch a lot of these movies, I feel like it might have been like that at high school in the 80s. You know what I mean? So I like it because it gives you that perspective of like, if I was a kid, would I have been like, dang, I can't wait to get to high school. It seems or scary because they're going to pick on you and beat you up on the soccer field. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
but I like that.
All right. So for me, I never liked this movie growing up. Never. I never even went back to watching it. This is the first time me watching it since I was a kid. Never seen part 2, 3, and new ones. So those are fresh. So that one I'm not gonna have I'm gonna have a really like if I'm breaking down the Action Movie Guys podcast type of review. This one, I'm just gonna be really straightforward. Watching this movie, I was like, it's okay. As a grown-up, I was like, I see it, and I always love my 80s movie. Like I tell Nate, one thing 80s does very well is they have good stories. Like good stories to tell. And this one had a good story to tell. I just don't like the actors that are in the movie. I just felt like, and again, it's 84. So I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, because after that, you compare it to like a Back to the Future, you have Michael J. Fox and all that, and they're great actors, right? And then you go Karate Kid, dude's horrible.
But that's Elizabeth Shue shows up in Back to the Future.
Yeah, she's the girlfriend. Yeah, so it's like, oh my God. But anyway, I didn't like this movie. And I still didn't like it. And I was just like, my God, this thing is annoying. I was bored throughout the movie. And it's just weird. I didn't like the fighting at all. I was like, this is atrocious. Like, this fighting is atrocious. And that's the thing I was trying to tell you, Nate. Like, compared to the 2010, I was glued because those little kids were whooping ass.
Oh, yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
And I was like, they were hitting hard. Daniel's son, anyone could whip his ass. I mean, the way he was fighting, I was like, dude, even a female could have just walked up to him and smacked him around. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, what is, like, it was, to me, I was like, this is horrible. Like, even the tournament was boring. Like, I was like, this is not even good fighting at all. My problem with Daniel's son. And I don't know, once I say this, I don't know if I'm going to pop people's bubbles. This dude sounded like the most bootleg Rocky Balboa. Hey, Mr. Miyagi, what do you think you're doing, huh? Hey, I'm from New Jersey, huh? What do you think can't take this no more, huh? What are you teaching me here? Wax on, wax off.
You don't sound like Rocky Balboa. You sound like Danny Zuko from Greece.
No, he sounded, but like later on in the movies, like part 2 or part 3, he started to sound like Rocky. Like, hey, I got you a bonsai tree store, huh, Mr. Miyagi? What do you think? Huh? And he's like, Mr. Miyagi ain't gonna like I broke his tree there. Huh?
Well, I mean, he's playing I think an Italian, right?
No, he's from Jersey. I mean,
well, Rocky is from Philadelphia. But.
I guess. I mean, maybe he is, but I was just like, it just sounded way Rocky. I was just like, oh my God.
Director as Rocky.
I think
the director of this movie directed the original Rocky and Alex's favorite one, Rocky 5. Also, he directed.
Oh no, I don't like Rocky. Don't start that rumor.
I'm just kidding. I mean, he did, but he directed Rocky 1 before this. He also directed Lean on Me later in the 80s. He's done some other good movies. The same guys, just a fun fact, wrote and directed all 3 of these first movies. So you have the same writer for all 3, same director for all 3.
Well, then you know what? I think he must have like took Stallone's Rocky idea and said, "How can we do this with a kid and an old man?" Yeah, Rocky for kids. That's exactly what it is.
I think that's what they did. He read a story, a newspaper article about a kid who learned karate to defend himself against bullies, and he says this could be a Rocky for kids story, and then made the movie.
Well, because he acts just like Rocky. I mean, like yelling at Mr. Miyagi. And Mr. Miyagi is like the one who trains him throughout the. So anyway, again, I wasn't a fan. Like I would give it a 3 out of 5. Like if this first one, I would give it 3 out of 5. I mean, I don't hate it. Like I'm never watching it again. But I think it was a 3 out of 5. I just was not too crazy. And And the bad guy is so over the top. He's smacking these little kids like your parents is gonna let this guy just wail on your kids, like punching
Not in the
them?
80s.
I
The adults
guess.
in these movies are abusive
Clueless.
all the way through to the new one. Pretty much. I mean, freaking not to get ahead, but Jackie Chan fights a bunch of middle schoolers in the new one. So it's not, it's the rules are off with these movies.
I guess so. But
Parents and kids.
all right, so across the board, what is your rating, Nate, for this movie?
What are we doing out of 5?
Whatever you want to do, 10, do 10. Whatever.
Yeah. What I gave it. Well, I went on Letterboxd and scored them all. I gave this one 8 out of 10 or 4 out of 5. I thought it was really good. Again, cool soundtrack. I like the stuff. I agree with you on the fighting, but it's like this for kids. Wow, what are they? They're gonna have like amazing choreography in this. I liked all the other stuff better. Like I said, I like the stuff with Elizabeth Shue. I like stuff with his mom. I like when he gets a car for a birthday present. I'm like, I like this. So anyway, I gave it a 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10.
All right. What you gave it, Evan?
Same as Nate, 4 out of 5. I like it too much. If I was to be a real critic, I'll probably be at a 3 out of 5. But there's too much that I love about it just because of my childhood that I couldn't give it less than 4.
It's all right. I'll save you. I'll save you the time. I gave it a 3 out of a 5. I think it's a good movie.
Kevin Simmons says in the 80s you could beat kids without mercy.
I mean, he's not lying. I think he is right on that one. Tony says you also should thank the man himself, the writer Robert Mark Cohen.
Mark Kamen.
Yeah, Kanan, the writer of the Fifth Element Transporter films, Columbiana, Taken films, and then the Angel Has Fallen.
That last sentence you should have left that. I said the dude is a great writer. Most of those movies are like throwaway European action films, but sure. I mean, The Fifth Element, I like. It's weird,
but it wasn't that Louis the Blanc or whatever.
Luc Besson. Yeah, he directed it.
Oh, okay.
Luc Besson supposedly is the story guy, and he gets a writer to come and actually write.
I got an idea now. Write a script for this.
Yeah.
Oh, I should get someone like that. I have tons of ideas.
Script writer.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Anyway, all right, so let's get to now the next movie up. So Karate Kid 2, now this takes place at Mr. Miyagi's hometown. His father is dying. He got his best friend who wants to fight him and kill him in cold blood. Then his right? And then his love interest is there also. But then Daniel's son, his mother goes, yeah, you could take my son to another country with you. Why not? Movie, I trust you, yeah. Now he takes him to where Mr. Miyagi's from, and all this stuff unfolds. So, Evan, what do you think of Karate Kid Part 2? Well, after rewatching it.
Well, as a kid, I loved it. I mean, to me, it was the equal. I loved the beginning with, fighting the old bad guy from the first one, punching the windows, and then he honks his nose. But on a rewatch, the one benefit of this movie is we actually see. I can't think of his name. He plays Mr. Miyagi. He actually does fight. Yeah, he actually does fight in this movie. They edit where you see his face doing kicking, because all the other movies, it's going to be a body double and you never see his face do it. So I did enjoy that part, even though it was slow and you could tell, but it did actually look better because you're like all of a sudden this old guy, then all of a sudden this guy's now moving very limberly where he hasn't been in the rest of the movie. But on this rewatch, I really like the female actress with Ralph Macchio. I thought they were actually decent together, and you're like going, this isn't bad. But the movie does not hold up, because I'll tell you the end and the little like and he's just standing there and the guy keeps running. Like going, why would you ever do that? Like I remember as a kid thinking this was cool. Like each little thing, he learns something new and he gets to use it in his fighting. But as an adult, you're like going, why did they keep walking into his fist like that to do that? You're like, don't understand. And then, but this actually has a decent story of the guy learning forgiveness. Why did you, like the guy who wants the revenge? You saved my life, and why did you do that? Like, it had kind of a purpose to tell a story. Was it good? No, but at least they tried.
All right, I like that. At least they tried. I like that. All right, Nate, what do you got for part 2?
All right, so now we're going to Okinawa, Japan.
Okinawa, yeah.
All right, I'll tell you this movie made me laugh so many times, not in a good way. Number one, that opening scene that I was talking about, hilarious. First of all, this guy right outside of this karate tournament is doing attempted murder on teenage kids. He's choking the one kid. He's like slapping the other one. I'm like, kid, there's no security, there's no cops, nothing. He's gonna choke this kid to death if Mr. Miyagi doesn't walk over and stop him. And then he did these slow punches into the glass. He's like, he's got blood. And then he punches the other one. And he's like, and then Mr. Miyagi does like nothing to him, trips up, and then honks his nose. And I'm like, wow, what a way to kick this movie off. They go to Japan. This movie did an Alien 3, Alex. You know, you guys did Aliens on the last franchise ranking. Elizabeth Shue dumped him for a football player, and his mom just God knows where. And I was like, those are two of the things I liked from the first movie. What are we doing here? She's like, she likes some football player. She crashed my car. I hate her now. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't like that. So that was a minus. The mom, minus, because, again, I liked her. I actually liked their sort of like dynamic. I hate when kids like hate their parents in movies, and you don't get that here. You know, like, yeah, he's a teenager, but he loved his mom and she loved him, and they had I like that, and there's not here because he's stuck with Mr. Miyagi. Now, let me get to the story really quick. This movie is a Mr. Miyagi movie more than it is a Karate Kid movie.
Yeah.
The whole thing is about him and his lady that in the first movie you thought he married her, but it turns out he didn't. He just left because he got challenged to a fight to the death, and then he didn't want to do it with his friend. It's very convoluted. The friend still wants to fight him. 50 years later, he's like, I want to kill you. I want to kill you so bad. But they never got married. And then he meets the girl. And then this kid meets a new girl. It's not as good as Elizabeth Shue. Sorry, Evan. I didn't like them as much together. And then he's running around town, breaking ice, doing God knows. There's a hurricane at the end. And then there's a random kid up a telephone pole. Like, why did that kid get up?
She was ringing the bell to let them know the storm's coming.
She just got stuck up there. Like, why they send that little kid up there to do that? There's just a lot of weird stuff that happens at the end. Then he goes out and he tells his nephew, "You're dead to me." And now the nephew wants to fight. And I'm like, I'm tired of this. I didn't really like this one so much. I didn't think there were some okay parts, but I didn't really like it. Although, great song. Got a great what's
Peter
that song?
from Chicago.
Peter Cetera. Yeah. That's a good song. Glory of Love, I think it's called.
Yeah, I think that's his first solo song that was a hit. He wrote it with Peter Foster.
It's not as good as the "You're the best around." It's not as good as that. But this song is pretty good. So, but this one not so much. I didn't like it as much.
I did not like part 2 at all. Man, the minute they did the previews, and I said, "Oh, geez," I had to fast forward because I really didn't want to sit through part 1 again. I did not like this movie. I agree. This movie has so much plots all over the place. You got the plot where where he helps the old guy with the carrots, right? And the guy goes, ha, ha. He's like, "It's all right. I'll help you take it down the street. I'll take it down the street." And he's helping him. And then he knocks over the weights. And then he breaks. He's saying, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "I'll get you, man.
That doesn't make sense.
Huh?
I'm confused about the weights. I mean, wouldn't the carrots be heavier so they owe more? Wouldn't the weights need to be twice as heavy? So
yeah, he was cheating.
But how would the weights be that light work for them cheating? Because they're paying based on how much carrots they give them. So therefore, the weight should be like double weight. Like if it says 1 pound, it should weigh 3 pounds.
This is Okinawa.
They don't know that prices for carrots are.
You don't know how many times I rewound it and was like going, wait, how is he cheating them with the... He's giving them more money, wouldn't he? I was so confused about that.
Well, anyway, so you got that, right? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is so stupid. Then when they're at the club and they're dancing or whatever, and then he meets him in the back room, and he goes, "You take my money, I'll take you my money." He said, "Hey man, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you here." And then he kicks him in the stomach. He's and he always gets his ass beat. For some reason, the top karate champion gets his ass beat from these guys. And I just thought, I said, this movie's really not as good. And I agree with Nate. Like, this is just straight up Mr. Miyagi. Like, I mean, that's what it is. And I was like, okay, I had fun with his storyline because I thought it was actually pretty good if you're going to go with it. But then it was just like they had to throw Danny into the beef between the best friend and Mr. Miyagi, then the love story. Then, for some reason, every movie, Daniel's son has to have a love interest. Like, he doesn't need to fall in love with another girl. Like, he just went to this place, and he's already trying to go out with this girl.
Broke up with him like 3 days before he left. He's like,
he
does a weird ceremony with her in that.
And then a hurricane hits 2 seconds later.
Are they getting married or something? Like, what's going on here? You just graduated high school.
That ending is so horrible.
Yeah.
It went from let's have some tea, a hurricane strikes, they're going to save Sato, which is his best friend. Then all of a sudden he goes, Mr. Miyagi, you can take him. I'm gonna go save the girl. And then you see lightning hitting, and he's like, with electricity. He's like trying to push it with the belt and all this. And I was just like, oh, come on. And then at the end with the stupid baby rattle, and then the entire, oh man, that fight was even horrible too. And it's crazy because that guy is more experienced than Danielson, and he loses. To this guy, and I was just like, oh, this is why I'm starting to hate this Karate
also,
Kid
are
crap.
there any security guards or cops anywhere in any of these movies? This guy has the girl with a knife to her throat, and everyone in that whole place is just like, and they just stand to the side.
80s was a wild, wild west back then, you know?
I was just not a fan of this movie. But with that said, Nate, what do you score this?
I gave this one a 5 out of 10. Because I laughed. So there's some unintentional jokes, and it's not a carbon copy of the first movie. You know what I mean? Like, they did something different location. Cool enough. I gave it a 5, though. I didn't really enjoy it.
All right. Evan, what you got?
Oh, no. I'm going to give it a 2, even though as a kid, I want to give it a 3. I enjoyed it. I watched it. But as an adult, there's too many things wrong with it to not acknowledge that it's a bad movie.
It's all right. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I wasn't feeling this one. Kevin Simmons said, "Look, I fought a kid in 5th grade with the drum technique."
Practice it.
Oh my god.
Jay says, "I found the mini drums annoying. They didn't really make any sense." And it was David Foster who co-wrote the song.
Oh, okay.
And then that was it. That's all anyone said about part 2. Not much from the chat on any of these movies. I'll tell you what.
No, I don't think they're big fans.
They don't even care.
Yeah. All right. So here goes. The next movie up is Karate Kid Part 3. So now in this film, they go to another place, right? I think they move.
They go back. No, they go back home, and he takes him across the railroad.
That's right. He loses his
because
job.
He loses his job, and the apartments are being torn down. So Daniel becomes homeless.
Yes, and then Daniel's mother is taking care of her uncle who is sick, and asks Mr. Miyagi, can he stay with him? And he goes, I built your son a house.
He's homeless. He's homeless by choice because he could go stay with his mom. He chooses to stay in the spare room he built.
He built him. It was so weird. But anyway, that is the weirdest thing. He built him a spare room, and then Daniel goes, I'm going to go to college, but I used the money to make Mr. Miyagi's dream of a bonsai tree store called Mr. Miyagi's Little Tree.
Yeah.
So
the funny thing is, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to just jump in, but I, before I lose my train of thought, these movies this is 5 years after the first movie in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
However, it takes place 1 year after the first movie. So the first movie ends. The second movie starts right after, right? And then it flash forward 6 months, they say. 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
So then from there, I don't know how long they stayed in Japan. Because in this
summer.
So they're coming home. So they're coming home. But when they get back, he's like already supposed to, the tournament is coming back up, which means it's a year later. So the timeline here, it kind of doesn't make any sense in that regard, unless they were working on this store for like 5 months and you just don't know about it. Also, Ralph Macchio looks way older in this movie.
Yeah.
He was almost 30 at this point, and he's still playing. He somehow is in the under 18 karate tournament still, even though because he's the defending champ, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there that I was very confused with the whole timeline.
Then his love interest is, I think, 16 actually in real life.
Well,
so that's why they just stay friends, because Ralph Macchio says, no, I'm way older than this girl. She can't be my love interest.
He said, I
He
ain't
like
kissing her. I'm 30.
no, and supposedly the producer supposedly really did not like that, but he stood his ground and they rewrote that. I'm getting back with my boyfriend, so we're just gonna be friends.
Well, that's why there was a next Karate Kid, I guess. He didn't get a girl. They said, we're going to get a girl.
Well, then the bad guys came back, right? The guy from Cobra Kai, the main leader,
Yep.
John Kreese, came back. And then they look like they used the promo shot from Rambo 2.
Yeah.
Reshot. but yeah, so John Kreese is back, and his best friend is like a typhoon type of guy, right? But all this money,
Yeah, did you
rich
guys
money.
see the letterbox picture?
A tycoon.
For this movie? Look at this.
He's like,
That's the letterbox photo at the top. Is that part where he jumps in at the end and goes,
He tries to scare him. So, okay, this one had a little bit more story than part 2. So, Nate, I'm going to let you go first since you've never seen it before. What did you think of part 3?
I hated this one. This is the one where I was like, I hated this movie. This was not good. Listen, this one is more trying to copy the formula of the first movie than the second movie. At least that one's different place, no tournament, no. Here we go again. You got a tournament. These grown men are contemplating how they can cause much physical pain on a teenager, which is weird. You're right. He's a rich, toxic waste tycoon millionaire, I'm assuming, because he throws away toxic waste everywhere. He has long hair. He's hilarious, by the way. He's like a cartoon villain. Then they hire in a mercenary karate fighter to come and enter this tournament.
Hey, Barnes, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he looks like Cody from Step by Step. That show Step by Step in the 90s. And then he comes
Kickboxer 3?
Yeah, I thought it was him, but it wasn't. It was someone else. So he comes in, and this guy's like, sign the contract. You're going to fight me. And then Mr. Miyagi won't train him. Then he goes to the bad guy, trains him to be a dirty fighter, breaking wood and stuff. Then there's here's where I checked out, Evan and Alex. This is where I mentally was like, I'm tired of this movie. There's about a 10-minute scene right in the middle of them climbing down this thing to go get this tree. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we are struggling here. As a writer, we are struggling to fill out this movie with interesting things because this is a long scene of these two kids climbing down a mountain, cutting a little tree, climbing back up, getting saved by the bag. I'm like, please, can we move on? I hated it. The tournament is far worse this time around. There's way less intrigue all around. The villains are literally cartoon characters. If they had mustaches, they'd be going, we're gonna get them. Like it was not it for me. I didn't like this one at all.
Evan.
I agree with everything Nate said, but I thought the idea of the story was a little bit better than 2. Like trying to get him back in. The execution was terrible. I hated the relationship with this new girl because why? It's really creepy because if you're like, oh, we're going to go on a date. Now we're not going to date, but we're going to be best friends, but we're not dating at all. And that's when I read about why, and it's just totally forced. You could tell the producer says, we hired her. She's going to be in your movie no matter what. It does not ever. And then the whole Miyagi, when do you start listening to your sensei? Like, why are you fighting him? Why are we doing this? It's like, why are you staying in the town it seems like no one likes you still? You don't have a job. Why are you there? You end up with so many questions. But there's something endearing. I thought the bad guys being cartoonish and being over the top. As a kid, I loved it. Like, as a kid, like, when he jumps out and you're like, holy cow, he's really scared. Like, but I'm talking, I'm like 7 or 8 when I'm watching these movies, right? So there's an endearing part of this movie for me that I still enjoyed better than 2, if that makes sense. That there's something. Is it a worse movie than 2? Yes. But do I like it more than 2? Yes.
Interesting.
Rare. I feel like that's a rare take right there.
That's a very rare take. I think this movie is a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
I couldn't. I checked out at the same point, Nate, With then and then they start, oh, Mr. Miyagi's gonna love this tree. Mr. Miyagi, this is a $10,000 tree. Oh my God. And I was just like, what is wrong with Rocky, young Rocky here? I was like, I can't take this no more. Like, it was just starting to get weird. And then he started to get all mad when he brought him the tree. Mr. Miyagi, the tree is broken. I broke the tree. And then he's like, that you son, roots come from tree. And tree come from roots. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go again with this stupid stuff. Like, honestly, like, the movie, I do agree with Evan. The movie is a little bit better than part 2. Like, I was into it a little bit. Like, it reminded me of, like, Three Ninjas with the goofy villains.
I like Three Ninjas.
But I haven't seen it in a while. But I was like, I couldn't get into it, though. And then at the end, he was like, oh, you tricked me. And then they start to the whole fighting tournament where the guy's like, you're going to hit him, and then you're going to take a point, and then you're going to hit him and take a point. And I was just like, oh, here we go. The last fight's going to be this. And I couldn't take it no more. I was like, this movie better end super fast or I'm going to end it for it. I was just going to hit stop. I don't know. I just felt like the characters.
This one was boring. It was boring a lot of times. I was like, I'm really bored. I don't like this.
Well, there was nothing new for the characters to move forward. Yeah, they opened up a bonsai store, but the bonsai store was never even completed. It was just a few little trees, and then they just went to the tournament, and then that's it. And they like, Miyagi, we did it! And then the movie ended, and I was just like, oh my God, it ended.
Saw them sell any trees? Not one.
No, they didn't.
That store never looked open.
It looked
No, they never
abandoned.
finished
It looked
it.
haunted.
Yeah. I was just like, this movie is completely horrible from beginning to end. Nate, what did you give this movie?
I gave this one a 3 out of 10, not out of 5. A 3.
Okay.
I was gonna say what?
3 out of 10. 1.5 out of a 1.5 out of 5.
Okay. All right, Evan, what you got?
It's a 2 out of 5.
I'm giving this a 1 out of a 5. This is no bueno. My man Kevin Simmons, he's killing me.
You guys are ruining my childhood, but when your commentary is spot on. I never really thought about it until now. Sorry, Kevin. Sometimes it just is like that. Tony says, The Karate Kid Part 3 is one of the most cheesiest movies I've ever seen. It's so over the top, but I kind of like it. Jay, it's just like Texas Chainsaw 3. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. Jay says the timeline is all jacked up. And then Tony says, Part 3 is a guilty pleasure for sure. And then Jay says, Part 3, very boring. Couldn't wait for it to end. I agree. I was like, when is this movie going to be over? I don't want to be watching it anymore.
All right, so Part 3 is over, and we went, oh man, that was my Friday night. And then they said the next day I'm gonna do the next 2, and then prepare for the live stream. So the next day, which was today, I woke up 7 in the morning and put on the next Karate Kid. And I can't wait to talk about this. So with that said, Evan, take it away with the next Karate Kid.
So as a middle schooler who see this movie in the theater, little crush on Hilary Swank. Mr. Miyagi's back, and as a kid, he's part of my life. I mean, I've grown up with him. I'm glad to see him. But boy, on the rewatch, this movie was terrible. I mean, sorry. All the high schoolers all look 30. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, that big, the love interest. I mean, I'm like going, dude, where did you drop out of college just recently?
I thought he was. I thought he was the best friend of Charles in Charge.
Well, I loved him I liked him because I don't know if you've ever seen this classic movie called Airborne back in the 90s with the rollerblades and the stuff. It's a cheesy movie. It's a cold classic for our generation. He was in that movie. He was the high school bully. It's Jack Black's one of his very first films that he was in. And so, but Hilary Swank was annoying and stupid. And by the way, why does Mr. Miyagi walk in on Daniel-san? Because that's what we've learned. Because he walks in on Hilary Swank. While the line as a kid was funny, boys are easier. But then he goes and says, Daniel-san and I used to just walk in.
No,
Why?
He just meant like not like going into the bathroom. Like he could go into his room while he's there.
You wouldn't have to
Like,
worry about
Even
seeing
not knocking? Without knocking?
well,
What if he's
like,
changing? All I gotta say, it was a little.
I don't think he meant it
No
that.
matter what.
I just think he meant that when he's in his room, he could just walk into it without thinking. While a female, you just can't because you don't know what she's doing. That's what I think. I don't
Well,
think he
you-
meant when she's butt naked.
You don't know what the boy's doing either. So that's all I gotta say.
It's on Daniel to lock the door. If
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
for some meat.
And then when she goes to the monastery and the monks and the bowling and it's like going, they're just, I don't know. It got too, it lost the soul of what the Karate Kid is supposed to be. And I think they just made a movie and used the name and got Mr. Miyagi back. And it had no point of ever existing, even though I like it as a kid. So when we have to rank it, I'm going to have such a hard time because am I going to put my young self and how I remember the movies or how I rewatched them recently? Because I don't know what I'm doing yet, and I'm still struggling.
Oh, I love this. I love it. All right, Nate, what do you think of the next
you know what?
karate?
I'm glad Evan said that because I think I might have an interesting take on this too. In that, for the ranking part, I'm debating where this one goes. But what I will say is, this is an absolute horrible movie. It's really bad. And I saw this in the theater. I agree, Evan. Hilary Swank's character. Okay, again, she's 20 when they made this movie, so she's an adult woman playing a high schooler who loves this hawk. Hates all people, disrespects authority. And this is what I was talking about with the other movie. How Daniel and his mom have like a good relationship. This lady like hates her grandma. She lives in a beautiful, huge house. And she's like, ugh, you just leave me alone. You don't understand. Like, I get it, her parents died, but like, I hate characters
Taking
like
it
this.
out.
It's hard. Yeah, it's just hard for me to like root for them. And this is not a Karate Kid movie. Like this should have been called like Mr. Miyagi Goes to Boston or something like that. Because there's no tournament. There's no, like she already knows some karate that her dad taught her, who learned from her grandfather, who learned from Mr. Miyagi. So she
to avoid cars. Avoid cars.
The tiger stance.
Yeah, she jumps. She's like Kobe. She can jump over the car or onto the hood. Then you're right. These high school the dudes look 37. They look my age, all of them, especially the bad guy. He looks super old. The love interest guy, he looks 28 maybe. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, okay, here's what I don't understand. There's a school apparently in Massachusetts. There's this group of kids called the Alpha Elite. And Michael Ironside, who, by the way, the best part of this movie is Michael Ironside. Love him. Especially when he's beating those kids up in the middle of the field, in the middle of the day. Nobody stops him. He's literally punching kids and kicking them. And I'm like, okay, we're still doing this. He has this group of kids who monitor. They're like hall monitors from hell. They walk around. He's like, if someone litters,
trained mercenaries.
If someone litters, you pick them up and make him eat it. I'm like, what the heck? Do you have what it takes? They're like, yes, sir. We have what it takes to be the hall monitors from hell. This is literally the storyline. Someone thought, there'll be these kids that are in high school that walk around and bully the other kids into going to class and picking up their garbage. They'll fight them. When they go to prom, they're going to do a bungee jump for no reason. They're just going to do a bungee jump. The kid's going to hit the house, break his arm. What were they doing? They never explain it. It doesn't make any sense. The monks were probably the funniest part when they danced to the Cranberries.
But out of place.
No, but they're doing that. I like that dance that they're doing.
I liked it too.
Yeah, it made me laugh. In a movie that is miserable, a little humor goes a long way. So I like the bowling part too. The bowling part made me laugh. It's like, why are you closing your eyes? He doesn't look at the pins. He just sees the target. And then he goes and when it jumps out of the gutter, I laughed. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed. So,
but it felt more like Surf Ninjas. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes, I love Surf Ninjas. That's from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, but it just feels out of place because I think that's what they were going for, that comedy.
It felt very Bill and Ted 90s. Excellent Adventure type.
This felt very 90s compared to the first one. It was made in the 90s. So that's why I'm struggling because, like, even though I hated it, I might have been slightly more entertained than the third movie, but I would not say this is a better movie at the same time. So yeah, it was terrible. And Hilary Swank, future Oscar winner, an annoying character, but her acting wasn't like god awful. I mean, I didn't think Machio was either, but I don't know. This movie sucks.
Well, all right. So I'll play devil's advocate, right? I enjoyed it for what it was compared to the other crap that I had to sit through. Like, Hilary Swank was a way better actress than the others that came prior. But I totally agree. We had my man Walter Goggins, Mad Young in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? My man Fat Man is in it, right? And then you have Michael Ironside, which I was like, oh yeah. I was like, now this is a real bad guy. Which he was. He was way better than the John Kreese guy, right? But then the movie just falls apart. Like, I was like, this is so hard. I agree with you guys. Like, my wife walked in and she was like, why does this guy look 50? I was like, I don't know. The entire school looked old. Like, so it didn't work for me. The monks thing, I'm going to be honest with you. When they take her away because she got suspended, that was my favorite part of the movie. When she was training with the monks, because it reminded me of Rey and Luke Skywalker at the island, like learning the Jedi stuff. But I thought it was pretty funny when she was going to kill the cockroach and they all got mad and they got up.
And leave.
Yeah, and I started laughing. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But honestly, that was like my favorite part of the movie was just that thing. And then the cranberry scene was pretty cool because they reminded me of the 3 monsters from Nightmare Before Christmas, the Dracula, and the 3 vampires. They're dancing.
Yeah, I like that part.
Yeah, I was like, okay. But I agree, this movie stinks. It's not good. And I think I'm going to have an easier time ranking the Karate Kids with this movie than Evan and you. Like, to me, it'll be easier for me to slot where that could slot this because it does get worse from part 2 on. It just started to get worse. But with that said, let's get to the rankings. Nate, what do you rank this movie?
Or don't we have one more Karate Kid?
Score.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, ratings. Ratings.
I gave this a 1 out of 5, so 2 out of 10.
All right. What you got, Ev?
I'm giving it a 2.
Okay.
Because there's some good memories. Yes, that's 2.
You are just holding on like this. You're holding on that edge.
That 2 is like,
there's the younger me going, you can't do this. It's who said that in thing? You're ruining my childhood. I'm ruining my own childhood right now. Okay, don't ask it.
All my childhood.
Throw away your childhood sometimes. We were dumb kids.
We were stupid. But all right, I gave it a 1 out of 5. I did not like this one either. All right, so next up is the last movie in the entire thing that we've seen.
Wait,
I seen this
let's go to the chat.
Yeah,
Go to the chat real quick. Jay says, Jay the movie critic says the next Karate Kid. It stinks.
Yes, it does.
Tony says, to be fair, the next Karate Kid was one of the Hilary Swank's first roles. She'll become one of the greatest actresses of our generation. Yeah.
Well, we're not saying that she's the worst part of the movie. I thought she was really good.
She was
no.
It's just the script was bad.
Yeah.
Her character was bad. Yeah. I think her character was bad. Not Hilary Swank was bad playing the character.
Yeah. So good point, but I mean, we agree. I don't think she didn't ruin the movie for me. Kevin says this movie is terrible, and I have pretty low standards for movies, so even he don't like this one. Tony says the next Karate Kid is not good and is laughing bad at times. Yes. Tiana's here. What's up, Tiana?
Oh, hi, Tiana.
Hello. And Tony, they're saying hi. Tony says Surf Ninjas, pure 90s gold. I do like me some Surf Ninjas. Tiana says I did not like the next Karate Kid. It just fell so flat.
Yeah,
we agree.
I agree on that one.
Tony says maybe they can redeem her back in a future. Ooh,
Hilary
Swank.
You know what? No. I would say this. How old is she now? How is
50.
she? Okay, so she's like Ralph Macchio's age. Well, he's
Ralph Macchio's he's in his 60s.
So okay, but you know what? I would say this though: if they could have him and Jackie Chan in the movie, a little cameo of her in that movie wouldn't hurt.
But what was the box office for this one?
15 million? Yeah, but you know what? With her resume, I think people will go, oh, okay, Hillary. But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think people know she was in this movie.
I don't think so either.
People who like her now, I don't think they know she was in the next Karate Kid.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know she was until I was like, okay. But
Yeah.
I thought the box set, the 4K one, did her dirty. I was excited for it. I'll buy all 4 on 4K. I haven't upgraded to Blu-ray. They didn't put the 4th one in. I didn't buy it because of that.
isn't that a different studio that produced that?
No,
it's
I thought
Columbia.
it was all the same.
Yeah.
Because it's in my. Oh, sorry, it's in my set here. Let me get it on.
You
Look
know
how
So you
why?
get all 30.
over in the bottom corner, didn't even get its own row.
No.
It's just got to share
No.
with part 3. But yeah, this one had a different writer, different director. The guy who did the music, Bill Conti, he's the only one that worked on
From
all
Rocky.
4. You see, that's his
Yeah.
boy. That is the Rocky. This is the Rocky for kids.
Rocky for kids.
Honestly,
It's the kids
Kids
bop
Bop,
version.
Rockies.
Yeah. All right, here we go. We're gonna go to the next one. The final
All right.
film in the entire thing, starring Jackie Chan and Will Smith's son, Jaden Smith, I believe his name is. It's called The Karate Kid. All right, Nate. I see.
Yeah.
You guys. So I'd never seen this before. So go ahead, Nate.
No,
take
I've
it
never
away.
seen it before.
Oh,
either.
you never seen it. All right, so you go first.
Yeah,
What do you?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So I never saw it in the theater. It was just not what I wanted to see. It didn't have anyone in it that I cared for besides Jackie Chan, but it just looked lame. It looked kung fu. Like, it did not look karate. I knew what it was going to do. They were just using the name to get people like me in the seats. So I didn't go see it. I watched it with my son. We had a good time. I think Jackie Chan shines in this movie. I thought he did really great in it. I do hate because you have the wax on, wax off, the things, and you have all the different things. We get one thing in this movie, and that's put the jacket on, take the jacket off, put the jacket on. And he doesn't really teach, and all of a sudden he could fight. I did annoy me to high heavens that all of a sudden, like with the furry first one, like you got to see more training per se in that movie than we did in this. All of a sudden, like, Jaden Smith could just fight and do all these things without real training, if you make sense. And then I really hated the love relationship between these two young actors and actresses. They are too young. I don't care. My son was also saying, I think they're younger than me. Why are they kissing? Like, he didn't like that part of it. It was just very awkward for, I think, me as an audience member going, why do I care? Because they look young. They look the age they're playing, right? But I did like the kid, and I thought they had that kid actually grew throughout the movie too, instead of just at the end of the Karate Kid 1 when he gets defeated. Man, you're great. Here's your prize, right? There's like, you just lose and now you grow as a human. Like, you actually see him learning throughout the movie. So there were some good things in it. But I overall didn't walk away liking it more than the original. I did not feel like I'm going to ever watch it again. It was just okay, but it wasn't terrible.
Okay. All right. Nate, what you got?
Yeah, they're 12 in this movie. So in the first movie, they're 17, 18, and in this movie, they are 12. They're in middle school. Which goes back to what I was saying earlier. Jackie Chan beats up a bunch of middle schoolers in this movie. So that's cool. I will say, this one, I did see it at the theater. I didn't hate it, but when I watched it, it was really, I mean, again, I saw the next Karate Kid when I was 7. I don't really remember it. So this was like the only one I had seen, and I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's well shot. I think the fighting scenes, Alex, I know you're going to go on to it a little bit more. They're good. Like, they're well choreographed. The Jackie Chan fighting with the kids, even though he's fighting with kids, it's like, it's fun. He's using the jacket and tying them all up. Anything with Jackie Chan, I'm kind of in. So, and I think he gave a good performance. I like that he's not just Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, there's some similarities. He's the maintenance man. I like the part with the fly where he uses the fly
the swatter.
Because then it goes back to that conversation in the first movie. He's like, why don't you just use a fly swatter? So that was a cute little nod. But I like that the backstory is more tragic for him with the car accident and all that kind of stuff. He's got issues. Mr.
Miyagi's was pretty tragic.
Yeah,
he
that
lost
was
his
true,
family and his son to the concentration camps
No,
that were in America. That's pretty awful.
The difference is Mr. Miyagi never showed any. He was like so stoic all the time. That scene where Jackie Chan's crying, he's smashing the car, and it was like emotionally acted. You never got that from Pat Morita ever. He's just quiet.
No. He was drunk.
Drunk. That's why he was drunk on the anniversary.
No. I know he was. You're saying Jackie Chan.
No,
Mr.
Mr.
Miyagi. He was drunk, and
His-
Daniel's son walked in on him, and he's like, "Oh, Daniel's son, take a drink with me. Take a drink."
He did. He got drunk, but you can't compare those two scenes as far as acting wise to me. Like it's not gonna hold water.
I think
Pat Morita. Listen,
got
Pat Morita
nominated
in that
for-
scene, listen, Pat Morita in that scene versus Jackie Chan in this scene is not close to me. It's just not. They're not even on the same level as far as like acting goes. So I thought that was much more engaging. And Jaden Smith's reaction in the scene, his part was better than anything Machio did in that original movie as well. So to me, that was good. It was a good difference. The one I did like the mom better in the first one. Like Taraji P. Henson's fine. She's a good actress. But this movie's long for no reason. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I agree with Evan. The kid, the relationship with him and the girl. First of all, they just are navigating China. 12-year-olds running around doing all this stuff by themselves. Every time he's dancing, he's popping, locking, and then she does a dance, and he's like, "Wow, this." I'm like, "This is weird, man. I don't know what's going on here." And then, even though they never say it, this movie just felt a little racist at times. I was like, these reactions to this little black kid, they're like, they're all like, "Don't look at him, don't talk to him. He didn't even do anything barely. He's 12 years old." And she's like, "Can I touch your hair?" I'm like, wait a second, this is kind of weird. So even though it's not blatant, there's some undertones here that were a little bit odd. But overall, I thought it was, for a remake, I thought it was fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I did not like this movie. I did not like this movie. I did not like the fact that they went to China. I mean, and I said this before. We were talking about it on the Patreon chat. What made this movie weird for me was that the starting of the movie is in the projects with Jaden Smith and what's her name? Taraji Henson, right? The mom. They're in the projects, and you're gonna tell me that they could afford to go to China? Nah, that ain't happening. I'm like, no.
Her job is.
What kind of job is gonna take you from the projects all the way to China?
A lot of jobs.
For a car company. Yeah.
Come on. No.
They do.
If you want to have it,
stuff.
if you want to, yeah. I mean, you're up and rooting the entire family to work from Detroit to China.
Yeah.
Well, no, they usually go after people who are young, who might, like, she's in a situation saying she's not going to say no to the money and move.
No, I
because
get
of
it.
where she's at.
I
she
totally
could have been getting a raise.
Maybe, whatever. But I was like, hell, you're not selling me on that part. Like, no. Like, you could have went and worked for Ford in the United States. You could have did something. But anyway, and she was in Detroit, the capital world of motor. Isn't the Motor City?
Yeah, and they're
Detroit?
It's a bankrupt city. I would have got out of there too.
I would have went to China. But anyway, they went up to China, right? So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. The first thing, the first person that comes to this kid is the whitest dude in China. Is a white guy that knows Chinese. And I said, whoa, okay, I already see where we're gonna go here. The modern take of this thing. So I said, all right, cute, cool. These dudes, and I'm talking about like the guy that's the main bad guy in this movie, beats the shit out of this guy in front of everybody. And he hit him, I mean, you can say whatever you want. He beats him up like hard. And I'm going, damn, this is your first day in this complex and you're getting your ass beat. And the difference between this one and the Ralph Macchio one is that Ralph Macchio one, it was like throughout like the whole 40 minutes, he's getting beat up after a party. The guy, miraculously, he's walking with his bike and the dirt bike guys is behind him. And I was like, oh, God. This one wasn't like that. They did it pretty quick. Like, the fight here, he's got now scared of him, which I would be scared too if I was his age, getting my ass whooped that quick from that guy in a different country. So I was like, it's all right. But then I felt like Jackie Chan was good. Jaden Smith can't act. I don't care what you say. He was horrible in this movie. Horrible in this movie. Really bad. I could not even root for him. I was just like, oh, who, like, and the mom, okay, great. She was good. They didn't utilize her more. She's a great actress. You could have utilized her.
She's a terrible mom.
Huh? Yeah.
She's kind of a terrible mom.
She is. But you know what? Like, I didn't mind it if they would have threw her more into the film. I would have been like, cool. Mr. Miyagi, well, Jackie Chan's, I liked him way better than Mr. Miyagi because he fought. That's the only reason. I like Mr. Miyagi. I like his, like, he's like the Yoda. Like, he didn't fight, but he just taught him how to do the moves, and the tree is life, and you become the tree branch, and you cut trees, whatever. I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool for the 80s. This one, it kind of worked very well. Like, if they used him or Jet Li, I would have been like, huh, Jet Li as Mr. Miyagi, I would have been like, you sold me on that one, because he fights too, and I would have been loved. But that tournament is the best tournament in this entire filmography. I'm sorry. Those little kids beat the shit. I mean, all the little kids. And I'm not even talking about Jaden Smith and the last guy. All the little kids that were in the tournament outshined everybody in this entire franchise. Daniel-san has nothing on these little 12-year-old kids. If you put those kids against him in that first movie, he would have got toasted before he got one point in. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Jaden Smith, while he's a horrible actor, he looked way better in his fighting scenes than Danny Zuko, or whatever his stupid name was in the first movie.
Macchio.
Yeah, Ralph Macchio in the first movie. Like, I did not believe none of his fighting scenes. Out of 1, 2, and 3, his fighting scenes were garbage. Jaden Smith, it looked way better. Way better. Even at the end, when the guy suckered his kick, and I was like, oh, we already know what's going to happen. He's going to do the Cobra stance and whatever. That looked way more believable than that crane kick, where he literally walked into the kick. I was like, come on. The other kid, he did that back guile kick thing, and I was like, that was more badass. I was like, that looked more badass than the other one. So, to me, I didn't like it because it was kind of a beat for beat from the first one, while it was trying to be new and modern. I give it credit for that. But I wasn't a fan of it. Like, I didn't come out once it was done. I was like, thank the Lord, baby Jesus. I was done with this franchise. Like, I was just pretty much checked out. Like, but Jackie Chan did save that movie. Whether it was him or Jet Li, either one was Mr. Miyagi or whatever. I would have been like, oh, because that scene when he was drunk and he put the sticks on him and they started like doing the training with the one beaming light. I was like, damn, that kind of car light is kind of bright, and they had the high beams on. That looked dope. That whole scene was dope. That whole training thing when he got him back focused, I said, "Oh, this is where the movie gets good." But anyway, Nate, what do you give it? 1 through 10.
1 through 10. I gave this one a 6.
Nice.
So a 3 out of 5.
All right, Nate, Evan.
Take a guess.
Oh, 2?
A 2. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna be that bad. I didn't like it, but I give it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was good because once the fighting scenes and everything picked up, I was like, it's good. I still think the mom should have been utilized.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's significantly more well
than
made than the 3 that came before this. Yeah. Honestly, like, it's way less cheesy. It's way better. Like, the choreography's better. The casting is better. It looks better. So, like, for me to put it on the same tier, if I'm just talking enjoyment, well, not me, you, Evan, I can understand because you worked with the other ones, but it's a better made movie than the other 3 that came prior.
Well, like, you had Will Smith behind the camera.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch either one or like the original or this one. Like, I will never go back to them. But honestly,
just hate the Karate Kid.
I hate the Karate Kid across the board.
The Kung Fu Kid. Really.
Yeah, the Kung Fu. Yeah, pretty much. But I don't know. I just feel like in this one it was a slightly better. Well, it's 100 times better because of the fighting scene, and especially when he goes into the dojo. The same. If you put it scene by scene with the dojo when he goes, let's go and talk to him, that felt way more heartfelt from the remake than the other one. Because in the remake, I mean, the original, he was just like, all right, in the tournament, because it's 6 against 1, it's not fair rules. And the guy was like, all right, cool, but you better not back out, because if you do, I'm going to fine you, I'm going to kick your ass. And I was just like, oh, God. While in this one, made more sense. It was a feel like a real dojo. Like, it was like they were in Beijing. So, like, it was dope. I was like, oh, man. Like, it felt really cool. And
so I agree with that. Let's go to the chat really quick before we rank. Okay. Okay, here we go. Tiana says, so I liked this movie. Jackie Chan did good in this movie.
Ooh,
Tony says the director of the remake did that awful Pink Panther sequel.
Well, I like Pink Panther too. That's my joint.
Yeah, this is the director of Pink Panther 2.
I like
the
Black
Steve
Panther,
Martin
too.
one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Scott says 12 fighting over lunch money.
Oh, that's
Tony
right.
says the fight scenes are one of the few good things about the movie. Jay says I ended up liking this movie more than I thought I would. Jackie I thought did really well in this film, and he didn't hate Jaden Smith. Kevin says she got a job with Toyota in China, not in Japan, because they didn't go to Japan in this movie. She didn't. I don't know what company that she was
In
for, but
Beijing. It was in Beijing.
Beijing,
Somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tony says Jaden Smith could have been a very good actor, just like his father, but there's a lot of pressure, and someone should have given more acting classes. Okay, that's sure. Then they're going back and forth. I'm just trying to find stuff related to this movie. Jaden Smith was horrible, miscast in The Karate Kid, but we can thank Will Smith for that. Then he says the remake stinks. That's Tony. And then Jay says, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. And Kevin says a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, a 3. I can see a 3 with people. I can see a 3.
Yeah. What was yours, Alex, again?
Mine is a 3 out of a 5.
Okay.
I give it a 3. Because I really enjoyed the fighting. The fighting was like, I was like really glued to the tournament. I was like, okay. Especially when they rolled
on this one.
Yeah, when they rolled out the big carpet, and I was like, "Oh, it's the big guns right here." And then they had to do with the Mohawk fighting. Man, my man was going in, and I was like, "This is a really good
I like
fight."
That first fight with Jaden Smith, and then he does that move, and then the photo of him is like,
"Oh yeah," he was like, "You should not make faces." Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was funny. Okay, it's time to rank with Hillary Swank. All right, so here we go.
I don't know if I can do this.
All right,
You're
so
gonna have to, Evan.
I want to show off everybody that this is the way it looks, and then I'm gonna put it up whenever they talk about it. I'm gonna put it in order, so everything is nice and clean here. And now I'm gonna remove it, and then we'll go in order. So Nate, since you go first, and then Evan, since you're last in the bottom, we'll go bottom top. All right, you're number 5.
The next Karate Kid.
All right,
let's go there. I'm putting it at the bottom.
All right, then the next Karate Kid. All right, so that's perfect.
Yeah, for number 5.
All right, Evan.
Sound effects.
That's karate.
All right, what you got?
Watch out.
Okay.
What you got, Nate?
This is where it was tough. I'm like between two of them. Which one was I? This ranking? Okay, I'm gonna rank them. The easiest way for me to do this is just rank them by quality. I would agree. I think the worst movie of them is the next Karate Kid. So that would also be my number 5.
Oh, all right. Hold up.
I was slightly more entertained by it, but I'm gonna rank on quality of movie in my opinion. So yeah, I would put that 5.
All right. Me.
Karate Kid 1 forever.
Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do that if there was no others behind that one. But I would go with
if that's the only one on the list, it would be his last one.
If that was the last, okay. So my number 5 will be Karate Kid Part 3. I did not like this one. The goofiness of the bad guys and that stupid scene goes, ah! And then he's like, no. And then Mr. Miyagi kicks him through the door, and then they all fighting. No, I'm sorry. I couldn't get into it. So mine is Karate Kid number 3. All right, Evan, you're number 4.
Okay, I have reasonings. It's going to be the Jackie Chan Karate Kid. And here's the reason, because I cannot portray my childhood
and
make it anyway. So Daniel San will be in the top 3 just because I need it to be.
All right, the new Karate Kid is your number 4. All right, Nate, what you got?
I'll gladly betray your childhood. Karate Kid 3 is 4 for me. This one was the one that was fighting with the next Karate Kid to be worst, but I think it's just a hair better, I guess.
All right. You got a hair. Okay. This is where I'm a little I don't know where I want to go with this one. Okay. Oh man, this is
in the chat, you guys in the chat, go ahead and give us your rankings. What's your 5? What's your 4? I'll read them as we go.
Oh man, how am I gonna do this? Okay, you know what? I don't want to. I'll put this one here. I put the next Karate Kid as my number 4. I put it as my number 4. Yeah, I'll be good there. I don't think it's the worst, but it shouldn't be top 3. It just shouldn't be top 3. All right, Evan, we're cracking top 3 here. So you guys put your rankings on the side, and we'll go right to it once we're done here. All right, Evan, you're number 3. Choose
Is there
wisely.
anyone in the comments that need to talk? Because I don't know.
Do it.
Call your son
Okay,
in
so
or
I'm gonna
something.
I'm gonna go off of how many times I've seen the movies, and so that will mean Karate Kid Part 2 will be number 3.
What?
Whoa.
Oh
This is
my
an
God.
incredible list.
This is the weirdest ranking ever. All right, Nate, what is your...
I don't know what to do here.
Oh, you know what though? Wait.
What's your
No,
number?
mine's the same. Maybe Karate Kid Part. Well, his is weirder than mine, but I would also put Karate Kid Part 2 at number 3.
Yours is Karate Kid Part 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't make fun of me. We have the same ranking.
No, we don't, because you have one much lower than me. So it's different. But just for 3, yeah, we have the same.
Yeah.
All right.
You haven't put one that is incredibly terrible. That's why yours is weirder.
All right. So I agree with you. Karate Kid Part 2 will be my number 3.
Yeah, I match all of you.
We
Look at me.
all agree on that one. We all agree. Okay. This is where it's gonna get really
This is where it's gonna get
funky.
weird. Let's see what Evan picks for number 2.
All right, Evan, you're number 2 on the list.
It's the Karate Kid. No, just checking. Karate Kid Part 3.
Part 3.
Oh my God, are you
All the way up
serious?
at number 2.
Okay, I gotta go. As a kid, I loved 3 because I liked the villains. They were over the top. They were fun to watch. It was good. So
I'm there with you, man. You don't need to explain because we're there. It's just mad funny when you look at this list. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I agree, Evan. You know what? If I had seen these when I was a kid, I bet 3 I would like more because of the villains. However, I didn't, so I hate it. I'm gonna go with the remake at number 2. It's the second. It was the second best Karate Kid movie. Maybe because it's pretty much the regular Karate Kid movie, but just a little different. So I'll go with that one.
All right. I'll just say because it's not like every other movie within the past is the best one. I'll go with Karate Kid 1984 as my number 2. That's just saying much. That is just saying much. Oh my God, this is so.
Before we give our ones, I mean, we could process of elimination, but still, let's go to the chat because people gave theirs. All right, for Kevin, it was number 5 was the next Karate Kid.
Okay.
Number 4, Karate Kid 3. Number 3, Karate Kid 2. Number 2, the remake, and number 1, Karate Kid 1.
Okay.
Tony says number 5, Karate Kid remake, so he hates that one the most. Number 4, next Karate Kid. Number 3, the Karate Kid Part 2. Number 2, he's like Evan. Number 2, Karate Kid Part 3, and number 1, the original Karate Kid. And Jay's looks something like this: number 5, the next Karate Kid. Number 4, Karate Kid Part 3. Number 3, Karate Kid Part 2. Number 2, Karate Kid remake, and number 1, the Karate Kid original. And that's all we got.
All right. Here we go. Number 1, Evan. What you got?
Lay it on us.
It's the original. I love that movie. And on the rewatch, I had such a good time. It is my childhood. It is who I am to this day. I wax on, wax off. I paint the fence. I paint the fence. I paint the house. I do all the nice things.
He paints the fence. Oh man.
They were just childhood sayings, and they're just ingrained. It's who I am. It's my soul. Karate Kid number 1. And I'm just gonna say, Nate's rating, if I was using my logical side of my brain, I would be with Nate.
Okay. All right, Nate, what's your number 1?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say I wax on and wax off, but I will say, my number 1 is the original. I have never seen it, and I really liked it. I get it. Whereas Alex, you're like, I don't really get it. I get it as far as why people kind of dig it. But I thought it was a fun movie. It's the only one that I feel like in life I'd want to watch again, though. I could never watch these other ones, and I'd be perfectly fine.
Gotcha. Well, my number one is the remake, which I'm never going to see
That's
again.
crazy.
But yeah, I think the fighting and Jackie Chan is what saved this movie. But other than that, I could give a rat's ass what comes after this. Like, I'm never gonna see Cobra Kai, so it doesn't bother. Maybe if I'm bored and there's nothing to watch, I might watch the first episode and see if it's good. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of this franchise. Just not. I'm not buying this thing on 4K. I'm not getting the digitals unless it's like a $10 sale. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I'm not into it at all. Evan, thank you so much. You a trooper for watching all 5 of these.
Thank you for coming here and ruining your own childhood for us.
Yeah.
I know, it was awful. It was sad.
It is. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you guys the next movie lined up. Let me just erase all this stuff.
It's October.
It's October, so
secret hint. It's October, so it's horror.
It's going to be a horror franchise. We have someone lined up already. That's going to be a guest. We're not going to reveal who they are yet for the promotional stuff. We're going to do a horror night. We're going to do 2 shows, 2 big shows for Halloween for October. Me and Nate are enjoying doing this franchise stuff. These are going to be the 2 biggest movie franchises that we're going to sit down and watch, and it's going to take a long time to do. But
we have to speed run through some of these movies. We're going to have to do some speed running through some.
But I will sit down through all of them. I will see all of them. I'm not going to say I'm going to skip through them or whatever. I'm going to sit down and watch all of them. This is going to be fun. For those of you out there, if you want to participate, you guys got 2 weeks to catch up on all these films. There's a reason why we're doing 2 weeks also. So you guys can watch them if you guys want to watch. You don't have to, because again, we're doing all the work here. But if you guys want to watch it for yourself to enjoy doing the rankings with us, and it freshes your mind which ones you want to put up and down, you guys are more than welcome to. You don't have to do it, but if you want to, it's okay also. So with that said, the first franchise for the month of October 13th, we're going to be live here on the Geeks and Flix channel. It's going to be, are you ready for this, Evan? I don't know if Evan's going to watch this. It might be too scary for him. But it's going to be the Saw franchise ranked live. Yes. Are you ready to play a game? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be watching 1 through 10. I can't wait to do this because I wanted to do the rankings for this, but now I'm going to do it live for everyone. This is going to be one of the most fun promotionals I think I'm going to have, having fun with the Saws. It's going to be pretty fun, so I'll start doing the promotional soon. I'm going to have fun with this. But yes, we're going to do all 10 Saw movies. With the remake of Spiral is going to be included in it. I don't know how me and Nate are going to sit through all this, but because we have a lot of action movies to cover throughout the weeks. So
I'm going to have to make a schedule. Literally, I'm going to have a schedule. But the good thing with these are a lot of them are not that long.
No.
So they're like between 90 and 100 minutes. So there's no 2 hour, 2.5 hour. So that's a plus. I think we could get through them one a day with other days being dedicated to the action podcast. I think
so. With that said, guys, you guys can start watching them if you want. You can do your lists when you want. Just don't share it with us until the live show on October 13th. Like I said, we're going to have a special guest on the show. There's always going to be a special guest on the show. And then during the time of Saw, we're going to reveal the final Halloween franchise ranking on that one. So with that said, I hope you guys are excited for this. We're going to turn Geeks and Flix upside down and go horror for the month of October. This is going to be pretty fun. Like I said, I can't wait to do the promotionals for Saw. This is going to be fun. 2 weeks of having fun with this. So, Evan, what do you think of the Saw franchise ranking live? Are you going to join us? Meaning, are you going to watch them?
I will come and say hi. I saw the first one, and I will not watch the other ones.
So, that's fair. No, that's fair. It's okay. That's fair.
They're not my type of movie.
Hey, it's okay. It's all right.
That's why you should watch them all, because they're different than your type of movie. And let's see what Evan's ranking would be of a franchise he never will ever want to watch. I'd be interested.
Yeah.
If there were 4, I might do it, but not with 10.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I get it. All
That's
right.
fair. I forgot.
That's pretty much it. For tonight, we revealed the new franchise rankings that we're gonna be doing for next in 2 weeks. It's gonna be Saul, so guys, start watching your Sauls and all that stuff. If you guys have it and you want to tag us on your Instagram, showing us that you're watching it and stuff, we will, put it up on our live stream. Yeah, we'll share it. Yeah. That'll be fun to do again. If you guys are seeing it, just tag Nate Flix Reviews or tag Ultra HD Geek, which is me. But again, thank you everyone that joined us tonight. I hope you guys have fun. Let me just blow this up with us three.
Jay wants us to bring back the costume contest.
Maybe on the final
maybe for
episode.
the last one.
Episode,
maybe for the 2nd October episode. Yeah. But the thing is, then we'd have just do photo. Maybe we could do photos. Like take a photo, and then we'll show them. Because trying to bring everyone in live is that show's gonna be 7 hours long, so we don't want to do that. No.
But okay, so with that said, guys, thank you so much. We have content coming out during this whole week. It was Saturday. We're live. It's first time, so we do a Saturday show. This week we have an out of the theater
movie comes out.
Yeah, we have a out of the theater movie this week. Yes, October. Yes, October 4th is the Joker. That's this Friday.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be. My out of the theater review will be for Joker.
There you go. So this Friday will be the Joker review. I might do something. I'll figure out a 4K review and unboxing. I might do something like that on the channel. We have 2 more subscribers, and then we hit 1,500. That was our goal for this year, me and Nate. We're about to reach that goal. We're going to be celebrating the Action Movie Guys podcast 400th episode of the podcast. We're going to do a live stream just to celebrate that and have fun with everybody once we hit those numbers. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it on that front. Again, I'm excited for the October. It's going to be really fun. And then we have some comedies coming in November. I will just throw some stuff there before we reveal it to everyone. We got some comedies. We don't do comedies much here on the channel. And then we got Christmas. And then in January, we're going to lay the slate and let everyone know what we're going to be doing from January to December. Once me and Nate plan it all out. And then you guys can know exactly what we're going to be doing. So this is the first time we're doing this format, but I'm enjoying it more than doing topics, repeatable topics. I think this is fun. Everyone can engage, watch movies, and then talk amongst everybody with stuff. So I enjoy that. So Evan, thank you so much, buddy, for joining.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much, everyone that joined us live. From Tiana, Jay, Kevin, what we got? Nate, we got Robert, we got Haverson, we have Ben. I hope I'm not missing. We had Tony, Scott. I think that's pretty much it, right?
Everybody.
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
Tony was. Oh, the other Tony. Both Tonys were here.
Yeah, we had 2 Tonys here. One from the basement and the other one with Chappie. So
from the movie Chappie.
For the movie Chappie, yeah. But other than that, guys, be safe. If you guys are in Florida, be safe out there. Other than that, be awesome to each other and geek out.